We begin by seeing young Kaya Adams making breakfast for herself and her little brother, Kid Adams. The boy says that he dreamed of his mother, who unfortunately passed away a year ago, and he misses her. Kaya comforts him by saying that their mother will always be looking after them. Kid asks to go on the trip with Kaya, but she says that today is his day to help his father with the boat. Before leaving, Kaya speaks with her father, named Russell Adams, who has decided to fix the boat after a long time to return to sailing. She tells him she is going to meet her friend and asks him to remember Kit's medicine. The Adams family is still suffering from the loss, but they are moving forward as best they can. Kaya lives in the Florida Keys and drives to meet her friend, admiring the beautiful scenery around her. Kaya finally arrives at her friend Tess, who is excited about the adventure they are about to embark on. Kaya asks about Tess's new friendship, but she says the boys are nice and water stunt lovers, so she says it's going to be fun. The two meet the boys, Tess's boyfriend Julian, and their adventure friend, Zender. Julian excites them to go to the islands of the Bahamas, and they will leave in half an hour. The place they are going makes Kaya worried because she can't stay long since she takes care of her younger brother. Zender reassures her that they will return before sunset. Kaya, after thinking for a while, accepts the adventure, but before leaving, she decides to call her little brother, letting him know she will be a little late. The boy asks to go with her again, but he is too young for the adventure. After hanging up the phone, Kaya gets a bracelet from her friend, which Tess also wears. The two then head to the pier to meet the boys preparing to go on jet skis. To make Kaya more comfortable with the ride, Zender tells her a funny story, making her relax. He asks for her phone to put it in a plastic bag, and after that, the four friends go on an adventure. They speed through the open sea, and through the helmet communicator, they talk and joke with each other, noting Zender's affection for Kaya, saying it's time for her to get a boyfriend. The four friends head to the beautiful islands and archipelagos of the Bahamas and decide to take a break to enjoy it. While the couple enjoys some time together, Kaya talks to her new friend about the natural beauty surrounding them. Zender says he wants to travel the continents and learn more about the world by sailing on a sailboat. Kaya says she and her friend have known each other since childhood, and Tess wants to study marine sciences, while she got into college and got a scholarship to swim, but she wasn't too excited since she lost her mother, so she took a break to take care of her family, which is a priority. Moments later, the group of friends jumps into the shallow water to swim a little and dive to see the beauty of the seabed, with a diversity of marine corals and fish. Back to the surface, Kaya gets closer to Zender, and finally, they kiss, deepening their friendship even more. After the fun on the small island, they decide to return to shore on their jet skis. The youngsters speed up, and when Julian loses balance on a small wave, he ends up flipping his vehicle. He doesn't get hurt and even finds the moment amusing, but Tess injured her belly. When he goes towards her, the distracted Zender, looking at Kaya, hits the jet ski on Julian's head and crashes into his vehicle. Kaya, after the impact, looks around and goes to Tess, who is scared. The jet skis are destroyed, flip over, and then sink. The girls find Zender, who is injured due to the impact and also dizzy because he hit his head. However, Julian is not seen by them. Tess, not knowing the whereabouts of her boyfriend, starts to worry. Minutes pass, and the girls look around, seeing that they are surrounded by the sea. However, the worst may still be coming since sharks reign under the waters in the open sea. Fortunately, a boat appears not far from them, and Tess, seeing it, decides to shout for help. The boat's pilot, named Ray, was observing his direction ahead, and noticing something, he decides to approach. The boat approaches the group, and Ray rescues the young people. Asked what they are doing there, Kaya tells them about their outing and that there is still a friend of theirs in the water, but they have not found him. Ray knows that rescuing the other friend will be difficult, and when Kaya asks him to call the rescue team, Ray says he will. When entering the cabin, he immediately does not call anyone on the radio but observes the group. Tess says she will get water for them, and a few minutes after the young girl does not return, Kaya calls her. When her friend does not answer, she decides to go to Ray's cabin, but upon entering, she finds no one. Suddenly Ray comes out of one of the rooms, and questioned about Tess, he says she went to use the bathroom. Kaya asks about the rescue, and Ray says that he called for it and mentions that they were lucky he was passing by. While Ray is fiddling with his things with his back turned to Kaya, she thanks him for the help, and after introducing themselves, she asks him when he will be leaving, and he says soon. Suddenly he turns around and covers her mouth with a cotton ball soaked in chloroform, causing her to lose consciousness. He then goes outside and opens the cargo hold while the injured Zender is lying without receiving any help. Moments later, Ray starts the boat's engines and heads in another direction. Later, already at night, Kaya wakes up and finds herself locked in a room with some dormitories, and there she is together with Tess. They become apprehensive about the situation and discover that they are now prisoners on the boat they thought would be their salvation. Tess looks at the dormitories next to her, sees nail marks that scratch the wood with the word help, a cry for help, and realizes they were not the only ones kidnapped. Tess, terrified, begins to cry with fear while Kaya remains paralyzed. After a difficult night, the next morning arrives, and Kaya finds a piece of iron so she can defend herself. The hatch of the compartment opens, and Ray lowers food in a bucket tied to a rope. Kaya confronts him about why he wants them trapped there, but he says nothing. She keeps questioning him and refuses the food, so, not being subtle, Ray says that the boat is his and that he makes the rules. The man says that disobeying him once means going without food, the second time will mean going without water, and if it happens a third time, he will hurt them. After he closes the hatch, they gather together and fear the worst that could happen to them. Ray goes fishing while he doesn't care about the fallen Zender there, who is in a bad state and thirsty. Moments later, Kaya manages to spot a yacht approaching, and Ray, seeing it, remains calm. The yacht stops a little distance away, and a man named Curtis goes by lifeboat to the nearby boat. The man is the doctor Ray called. He sees Zender's condition and then goes to the girls. Tess tells him that she is in pain, and when he checks her abdomen, he discovers that she might have broken one of her ribs. Along with the man in the cabin, Curtis pays Ray for the previous job and implies that they work together to kidnap people or even illegal immigrants in order to steal their organs and make a lot of money doing this kind of atrocity. Curtis hands over the next job, and Ray questions if the cargo he got won't be enough. The doctor says the young Kaya is worth good money, but the injured ones will die soon, so Ray can get $5,000 for each of them. In the compartment where the girls are, Tess cries, fearing what might happen to them. Hearing something above, Kaya climbs the ladder to check the gap in the hatch, but she can't see well. However, the doctor begins a surgical procedure on Zender, and after sedating him, he cuts open the girl's friend to take his organs. Imagining the worst, the two girls hold each other. Looking at the bed next to her, Kaya realizes that it's rusty and that someone before them tried to make an escape in the compartment but failed. While Kaya tries to keep scraping the metal, the criminal doctor finishes the procedure and then throws Zender's dead, bandaged body into the sea, where sharks will soon devour it. It doesn't take long, and the two go down to get Tess, and even though Kaya tries to fight the strong Ray, she can't and is knocked out. Upon regaining consciousness, Kaya continues to scrape the metal from the opening. Later, already at night, Kaya manages to open the hatch and hides as the men approach. Ray brings Tess tied up for the doctor to begin the procedure, and while this is happening, Kaya tries to communicate with someone through the radio in the cabin. When no one responds, the young woman decides to hide again without anyone noticing, this time in the engine compartment, and looking at the equipment, she plans something. Young Tess is strapped to the stretcher, and unable to do anything, she simply resigns herself to her fate, with the criminal doctor putting music on a small speaker. When Ray is in the bathroom, Kaya emerges from hiding and observes her friend about to be killed. Wanting to help, she thinks of something. Seeing some sharp objects, she chooses to take a weapon with a harpoon. She takes a deep breath and decides to go out to save her friend. Approaching the doctor, who sees her behind him, she shoots the harpoon at him, leaving him wounded. However, upon releasing her friend, Curtis, still alive, attacks her. Tess gets off the stretcher and, with a scalpel, injures the doctor even more, leaving him on the brink of death. When Ray goes back outside, he sees the doctor taking his last breaths and wonders who could have done that. Seeing that the girls didn't take the lifeboat from the deceased, Ray grabs a metal rod and punctures it to prevent the girls from escaping the boat if they are still there. He then starts searching and uses the flashlight to illuminate the water, noticing movement. Realizing it's the two girls swimming toward the yacht, he quickly goes to the cabin and tries to start the engines, but luckily Kaya managed to damage his boat's motor, thus gaining time. Ray goes down to check the problem with his boat but discovers it will be difficult to fix. In the sea, the two are still swimming to reach the yacht, but the water currents are strong and make it difficult for them to reach the yacht, as Kaya is pulling the incapacitated Tess. The injured girl asks Kaya to leave her there so she can reach the boat and save herself. Kaya insists on taking her, but after Tess pleads for her friend to save herself, Kaya leaves her with the buoy and swims to the distant yacht, saying she will return for her. Kaya manages to reach the yacht and quickly gets inside the cabin. She desperately tries to start the boat, but unable to, she turns on the radio to call for help. Fortunately, she manages to contact the Coast Guard, and a woman communicates with her, giving instructions on what to do to find the yacht's location. Looking for the signal transmitter, Kaya sees the doctor's laptop turned on, showing live footage of more people trapped worldwide, waiting for their turn to be sold, and seeing herself leaves the girl paralyzed. Coming back to herself, she tells the guard what's happening, and then she continues to look for the transmitter. After finding the device, Kaya can't turn it on, so the guard asks her to throw it into the water, as it will activate the device automatically. Kaya goes outside the cabin, but hearing a noise in the water and thinking it's her enemy, she returns inside and hides in the compartment below. Ray reaches the yacht and starts searching for the young woman. Fortunately, he doesn't find her immediately and leaves the place. Kaya goes out of the compartment, using a signal gun. Unfortunately, Ray manages to get behind her, and grabbing her, he cuts her stomach with a blade. He leaves her lying there and cleans his blade in front of her. Kaya thinks of something and slowly approaches Ray, touching his face, surprising him. Suddenly, Kaya attacks him with a direct shot to the mouth with the signal gun. Ray writhes in pain until his death, while Kaya faints shortly after. A few minutes later, she wakes up and sees Ray already dead by her side. The guard still tries to communicate with the young woman, but she doesn't have the radio. However, Kaya makes an effort to reach the water and throws the signal to be activated. Unfortunately, it ends up falling on the edge of the yacht and doesn't fall into the sea, and due to the blood loss, Kaya faints again. The yacht continues adrift with no chance of anyone finding them. After a few minutes, the sea waves make the device fall into the water, initiating the location signal. Fortunately, at dawn the next day, while Kaya is still asleep, a Coast Guard team approaches the yacht. The young woman receives first aid and is then rescued by a helicopter. Moments later, the guards scan the ocean area to see if they can find the lost friends, and fortunately, Tess is found and rescued, still alive. Back in Florida Keys, Kaya is transported to the ambulance, and on the way, her father and brother find her, happy to have her back. The friends are rescued, and when they see each other, they are happy to have survived this terrible nightmare at sea.